Hi, everyone. I'm Louis from AI Square, and I'll be moderating this session today. Today, I'm with the CEO of Pundi AI, the founder and CEO of Flock.io, and the CEO of Kite AI. Gentlemen, before we jump into our very hot topic today, please introduce yourselves.
All right, I'll go first. So Pundi is actually started as a payments company 7 years ago. So we were in the crypto space since 2017. And since last year, 2024, we have decided to go into the AI space. So what kind of value do we bring into the AI space? We want to be the vertical whereby we democratize AI, especially in terms of data. So right now in our testnet on Pundi AI, we have 950,000 data sets. So those data sets are from Kaggle, from Hugging Face. So what we want to do is to combine the AI view with the Web3 view, the decentralized Web3 view, whereby people all over the world can annotate, label, and basically process the data. So very happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. My name is Scott. I'm co-founder and CTO of Kite AI. Before Kite AI, I co-founded a streaming DB company called Rising Wave. We raised 45 million for that company. And before that, I spent 4 years at Uber, built Uber first internal skilled AI. So grew the team from myself to 200 full-time employees. And before that, I was a founding engineer in Salesforce and Instant Data and AI Cloud. So I spent the last 15 years in building foundational data and AI platform. And I graduated from UIUC Graduate School. Kite AI is building a base layer for the AI. So we're calling ourselves like AI Solana, purpose-built layer 1 for AI. So what we do is that nowadays, for example, take Ethereum as example, there are $4 billion each year to give to each a million validators. But we are trying to redirect 90% of the rewards to AI contributor. So from supply side, we want to make sure all the rewards go to the AI contributor. From the demand side, we want to have end-to-end transparency between the data and the model. So for example, nowadays, Apple cannot use any open source model. They cannot use DeepSeek. They cannot use OpenAI. The reason is that they don't know what's behind the model. Even if you have 1 million data points, actually it's well audited and very safe data points. It just take only one data point to cause disastrous result. So that's why the importance of end-to-end transparency for the mass adoption of the AI. That's what Kite AI is built for. So we call our algorithm proof attributed intelligence, or POAI. That's what Kite AI for. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Jiahao Sun, CEO and founder of Flock. And I think on this panel, everyone is quite a long-term builder in the AI space. Me too, spent the past 10 years working as global head of AI at traditional banking industry, and then started to do Flock in mid-2022, where we figure out the issues about data silo, right, between different banks, between different hospitals. The data cannot be shared, but model can only be good when they have enough data. So that's where drive us to this concept of federated learning and blockchain. So basically, that's upon Flock, federated learning blockchain. So by federated learning, we mean that your data stays local. You don't have to send your data to a third-party API or wherever, but we can still train a model in a collaborative way. That happens, and that happens on many interesting use cases, like in healthcare. We work with hospitals that they don't have to have your private data sent over to any cloud or wherever, but we can still train a model to predict your diabetic level, to predict your eye clinical, or even some ultrasound pictures. And we also work in traditional industry, Web3 industry as well. Like we have collaboration, maybe soon with Kite, but already with Pundi, to work out models like can be built together with the community, because we don't collect those data, right? So everyone can contribute their intelligence about some certain topic, for example, the football industry. And then, yeah, that can be then used to drive the power for agent in the future. So yeah, that's generally what we do. Basically a training layer for the models.
Great. So today we're going to be talking about what I consider a very important topic. Like just a couple years ago, it seemed like the metaverse was the dominant narrative in Web3. And suddenly, AI came along, especially large language models, and it completely took the spotlight. I want to understand from your point of view, why do you think that shift happened? Was the metaverse not mature enough, or was the promise of AI just too irresistible?
Well, I think just like all the narratives, those hype goes come and buy very quickly in this industry, right? So yeah, like similarly, there was a trend of hype when people were talking about intent centric, and then that only maybe hyped for a month or two, and then all faded out because there was issues about AI hallucination. Many of those intent-centric agents or whatever, they can't really execute for the functional, practical usages. Until now, there are new wave of agents maybe coming soon. What I'll call them AI agent 2.0, where the functionality and the hallucination can be well managed. So yeah, similarly for Metaverse, it was big, and then there was some obstacles about hardware, about AI-generated content that can be really appealing to the user, whatever. But I would see, the trend may come back again when, now we have a new generation of large language models and a generative algorithms. Maybe there will be a new, different trend of this coming back. So just like all the trends, like it comes up and down, and then we'll see them again and again, and then every time it will come with something new. So I'm not surprised at all.
I see. Scott?
So I don't think this trend is similar to any other trend. So because I live in San Francisco for last 11 years, we call this AI super cycle. This is bigger than 2000 internet. This is bigger than 2010 smartphone. It's bigger than SaaS. It's bigger than blockchain. The reason is very simple. Like think about, at Uber, I supervised two AI products we built before. One is a collision detection. If I take Uber from this place to airport, if there is a car collision, Uber will call me immediately, also call 911. How much time, do you know how much money we spend on this model? Very simple model, $5 million, almost 18 months to rolling out, because everything need to build from scratch. That's not true after foundational model. Ever since we have a foundational model, instead of spending like 3 different engineers building 16 weeks, 16 months, now you only need one engineer. This engineer don't even need to understand AI. They just need to build a pipeline, spend less than $100 and 2 weeks build a prototype. So that's why they fundamentally change the environment and what the world we live in. Think about OpenAI was not able to code like programmer 2 years ago, but nowadays OpenAI already is ranked top 50 for the programmer. Similar thing for mathematical computation. OpenAI will surely become the best mathematical computation, this gold medal winner in this case. So that's why, since almost like a year and a half ago, Microsoft has prepared $100 billion just to invest in AI, because this time is different. This is an AI super cycle. This is actually the consensus in Silicon Valley and as San Francisco. The only thing is that which company is going to win? That's the hard part. Think about the 2000 internet bubble. You have tons of companies. Most of them is bubble and going to die off. But pick the right one out of the 100,000 companies is the hardest thing for the VC. So you saw, everyone saw the Trump announces 500 billion fund. But long before this, a year and a half before this, Microsoft already dedicated $100 billion to this, because everyone sees this is trending. And also, nowadays, model actually smarter than most of people think. Think about DeepSeek. If you look at the logical deduction from DeepSeek, it actually can list reasoning itself. This is a test time computing. DeepSeek just released it, but for last year and a half, this is actually AI industry pushing. Like, let AI think slow. Like, it's like giving you a mathematical problem. You don't want AI solve it in a second. You want it to think slow, reason with itself, write down its steps, and then that's actually another trend. So we're going to observe AI become smarter and smarter and solve more and more problems in this case. So that's why we call it AI super cycle.
Thank you. Zac?
Yeah, I mean, I think Metaverse has its uses. But I think AI is just so big. I mean, it's going to upend everything, right? I think in our lifetime, it will be bigger than internet. So if internet were to change everything, which it had, I think AI will change like so many things. It might even cause certain companies to go bankrupt, like Fortune 500 companies to be upended by even startups that really adopt AI. So in the specific case of Metaverse, maybe the question should be, will AI actually revive the fate of Metaverse? Can AI permeate Metaverse and kind of like re-energize Metaverse? I think that would be true. And one thing that I also find very interesting is that I think many companies and countries or whatever will be training their own models, right? They have a foundational model and they want to train it so that they have sovereign, they have privacy, they have control over it. So I think it will be a very interesting super cycle. Yeah.
Thank you. You've all shared some very profound insights on what AI is about to become or has already become. Now I'm more interested to get your opinion on, since in the global consciousness right now, AI equals large language models. Do you think that for Web3, there could be other forms of AI beyond large language models that could deliver impact?
Oh yeah, of course. It's not just large language models. There are generative models like Stable Diffusion, or even other ones that can be more multimodal. And I think, of course, it's definitely not just large language model, but of course, large language model itself is also evolving, and then we'll see some of the multimodal functionalities on the newer version. Hopefully, I don't know, GPT-5 or something, that they will have such multimodal application or concepts. But I would say generally, we will call it transformer family, right? So yes, so all the transformer family algorithms, either it's in the form of a language model or in the form of a photo generation model. These will be the mainstream, I think, for driving the AI age. Yeah.
I see.
So I do think there are three types of model going to pop out this year. The first is a multimodal. This is like a vision model, audio model. Think about the creator digital double. OnlyFans is actually one of the biggest creator platform. They actually want to create a creator digital twins for their creator, because if they have a creator digital twin, their revenue subscription rate can 3x. So that's why there is a strong demand for creator digital twin for this, this vision model and then video model and audio model. This is definitely one thing. Second is that we're working with UC Berkeley and MSK. MSK is one of the biggest cancer center in New York. And then we are building a medical foundational model. And then currently they only have data from UCSF. They want to explore the data subnet on top of us, provide audited cancer detection for blood cancer detection data. They're building a foundational medical model. There is some research from Harvard University, already built like foundational model. This is like cancer detection foundational model. This is more like a vision model, medical model we saw is another trend. The third is that we are working with NVIDIA research, robotic research lab. I think this year will probably be the first year or birth year of robotic. The reason is very simple. The old robotic is built up based on the perception, planning, and action. Both of them are more customized models. This is like an old format. You build everything yourself. But now they actually replace planning with a foundational model. It requires a lot of work, and it make it very intelligent, handle all the edge cases. And since beginning of this year, like last 2 months ago, everyone is exploring end-to-end foundational model. In this case, they even replace the perceptions smaller model. So in this case, I think this year you will have a lot of breakthrough from robotic, like from autonomous driving. So this could be a birth year for robotic. So that's the three direction. I think this year will make a difference, more than large language model.
I think there will be a lot of models in the market, multi-models, foundational models, and what we want to come in as a value added in terms of the data set that it has. So how do you differentiate between one model to another? I think data actually provides a very significant differentiator for this. So we want it to be Pundi AI wants to be the central repo over 1 million data sets in the platform for people to pick and choose and annotate and train. So I think that will be very interesting because I strongly feel that there will be different models coming out, and even the same foundational model implemented in different ways. So data will be the differentiator. Yeah.
Okay. I think that that's really the perfect avenue to jump into the next segment of our conversation, which is around ownership. All of these AI models require vast data sets to be trained on. And how do we define ownership in the context of Web3 for these models? Who fundamentally owns the insights that are generated by the AI? Like, is it the manufacturer of the AI, the data set provider, or the end user, or a mix of all?
Yeah, I can start. This is actually exactly the thing Flock is solving: the ownership of the model, ownership of whatever that you are created on chain. Because the reason why we have blockchain join this whole federated learning concept is to have a clear audit trail of everyone's contribution. Either you provided the data or you provided your insights about the model. That's all logged on chain that you can see clearly. So whenever this model being used, this is basically a way how they calculate the revenue share with our creators, right? So this reminds me of Chris Dixon's book about read, write, own. Like you basically. The early age of AI, where let's say AI industry, where some platforms like Kaggle, these are the early platforms where people actually posting bounties there, and then they compete with their bounty, and the winner wins it, and that's it. So that's basically the stage of read, right? And then we have Hugging Face, which I will call them read and write, because you can have your model there, you can host your model there also, but then still you're hosting your model there, and that's it. There's no any interaction for the model, let's say, revenues in the future. So that's the read-write stage. It's better than the Kaggle. There's more functionality than the Kaggle platform, but then it's still on the read-write stage. And then I think that with the blockchain join, with companies like us, like maybe the other two, we are pushing the read-write ownership stage, where you have the bounty, you have the model, you can host the model, also you own the model. So whatever that happened to your model, you're actually getting those revenue shares about the usages. So that can serve many long-term, long-tail demands, because you can imagine Google work with a very huge department store, right? Because there's enough demand from that side. But then for the long-tail ones, like a corner shop, it's unlikely Google will work directly with them. But with decentralized AI, like us, platforms like us, everyone can have their own model be trained and be hosted, and then they can still earn long-term with their own model. So that's where I think we are pushing for.
Thank you.
So I think one of the current trending we saw is that less and less data actually available online. So ever since the OpenAI come out, like 50% of open source data previously would say, hey, they describe in robotic TXT, you can crawl it and use it for free. Now I'm going to take it down off the internet. Now the internet become more and more worded garden, because people don't want OpenAI take some data, train a most powerful model, take billions of profit, and then leave them nothing here. So that's why the total, the AI economic is broken. So in this case, I think we need to solve it in two steps. The first step, each company need to get its right share of the money, profit, because if they don't get right share of profit, they have no incentive to public data. The public data share will slash by half by the end of this year, based on some research, and maybe even decrease further. This is the first step. You need to have public company willing to share data because they get fair compensation. The second step is that this data ownership need to go to individual. That's actually very important. At the end of the day, all the public companies, they don't produce data out of thin air. They actually based on their consumers in this case. And then as Jiahao mentioned, I think for the first time you can, with the blockchain help, you can identify who actually owns what data. Think about this. Nowadays, when you drive the Tesla, they collect all your data, but the data don't owned by you. In this case, Tesla can use your data, train the best autonomous driving model, it's basically use you as like a experiment mice, in this case. Like in this case, because the reason is that there is no way systematically track ownership of the data, systematically track the profit of the data, where the data come from, where data used to in this case. On the other side, the data ownership always combined with the privacy, because most of the people say, hey, if I can profit from my data, I'm really definitely willing to. But if I say this will violate my privacy, people will have a major concern in this case. But from raw data to transform the data to the data used for machine learning, there is actually a lot, big step. So that's what Kite AI is actually building infrastructure, data and AI infrastructure to make sure everyone's data. First, we're going to form subnet, make sure subnet's profit is given correctly. Then subnet can distribute each individual contributor, but also preserve each one's privacy, because you only get the data at aggregated level, remove all the personal information. So that's what Kite AI is building for.
Thanks.
I think the existential question for Web3 company with AI is that how can Web3 be meaningful when it comes to AI? So like how Web3 company can create real meaning in terms of AI. I think ownership is definitely one thing. The second leads to democratizing of AI. So when we talk about ownership, it is in fact a very strong trait that Web3 has that can help AI, right? So all sorts of problems that both of you mentioned, like privacy, ownership, Uber taking you as a guinea pig, like wherever you go, you become your data trainer. So I think ownership really can be something that Web3 company can give value to AI. So when you look at a data set, right, who owns the data set? It actually depends who you ask, right? If you ask the researcher that contributed the data, he would say that he owns the data set. If you ask a model that trains the data, the model will say that he owns the data, it owns the data. So to different people, to different actors, ownership carries different meaning. So we in the Web3 world is actually very familiar with ownership in terms of like using NFT, or ERC721, or even different ERCs to represent ownerships of data. So I think that actually kind of like opens up a advantage for Web3 companies to do all this. And it's just not data set, it's also like the models, right? The foundational model might be owned by this ERC721 token, which is owned by everyone here. So everyone here actually co-owns the model. But the data set can then be actually partially owned by the model and also the people that contribute to the data set. So I think when it comes to ownership, when it comes to democratizing of AI, it is what we can do, the crypto companies. And for Pundi AI, what we want to do is that we want to provide 1 million data sets. Right now, we are near to that. We are 950,000 data sets. But what we want to do is to make this 950,000 data set spawn to different version, which is then owned by different people, right? So the data set of consensus, for example, today, if it's like, it could be co-owned by the audience here. So I think ownership actually is something that Web3 can give a upgraded meaning to AI companies. Yeah.
Thank you. That leads me to the next question. We're down to our last 6 minutes. So I just want to get an overview of what the three of you think the future looks like in terms of AI in Web3. Are we looking at the kind of future where we have AI agents, which is a trend right now, making decisions on our behalf? Or do you think there are more meaningful or powerful use cases that are going to emerge from now on?
Yeah, who want to start? I can. Yeah. So first of all, AI agents can be meaningful as well. So it's not just the memes, right? Because yeah, I mean we saw the first wave of those agents. Many of them are meaningless. So yeah, I admit that. But then the ones that I think we are all pushing is the 2.0 version of those AI agents who are actually having their own functionalities that can actually help you. For example, doing the trading. Oh, you know the new narrative recently, something called DeFi, like with the DeFi by using AI to automate the process or help you, process the trading or training or whatever. And I know Pundi is also, I don't know, are you going to reveal this? Doing the on-chain agent that you don't have to have a human behind to work for the agent or market making. It's all on-chain. So so that's the new wave of agents that we're all maybe hoping for or actually pushing for. So the models building on Flock currently, we function them to many of those agents. We work with agencies or companies like Animal Brands. They just announced the Hey Annie with us yesterday. Oh, sorry, 2 days ago, which is the VC investment agent that you can take any CA or DAC, and then they'll give you feedback about the interest of investing into this. So the agent can just hold in the funds, and then whenever your project looks good, then they will just automatically invest. So there's no human in the whole process. It's like all automatic. So yeah, many of these useful, interesting agents that will be emerging, and then the models will be trained on Flock, by the way.
Scott, what's your take on this?
Yeah, so I think I always ask my question, is blockchain for AI or AI for blockchain? If it's AI for blockchain, AI can empower every single app here. The total addressable market is as big as blockchain. But what Kite AI built is blockchain for AI. We want to actually empower AI, use blockchain. I'll give you one simple example. How do you think AI agent will make payment? They cannot use credit card. They can definitely not use cash. They cannot use debit card. So that's why wallet is the best media to actually pay payment, because wallet is programmable. You can break the payment into a smaller one. You can authorize one, delegate token, and burn it later. This is no security risk in this case. So that's why what we built here is focus on blockchain for AI. Use blockchain to empower AI. Again, AI is $10 trillion super cycle in next 15 years. And currently, there is no way to make payment. There is a lot of things actually not being able to solve. Use AI itself. That's what we built for blockchain for AI.
Right. I think when you talk about agents, every one of us will think about AI 16Z. So I think that's like the kindergarten, preschool version of agents. What will come out this year, first half of this year, is on-chain Kite agent, whereby people use the agent to assist a person to invest in Aave or whatever lending protocol. So I think that is definitely coming. A lot of money market protocols are building this, so we will see that. So I think that will become a good assistant in terms of how I want to invest into my extra money. So if I have $1,000 extra, would I want to put it into Aave? Would I want to put it into Moonwell? Or do I want to put it into Nikkei 225 through agents? So I think that is definitely coming. Everyone is building it right now, the money markets platform. And I think for a longer horizon, I would say that each of us will be represented by agents. So for good or bad, our soul, we will be represented by different agents. So each of us will have several agents. And depending on when I am, right? If I'm in a Premier League football match, I would use that agent to represent me to place bets. But if I'm in a family setting, that will be a different agent, because that agent knows what my family members want to buy in terms of gifts. So I think agents would permeate so much that it becomes almost part of us, for better or worse. So super cycle, $1 trillion, but it's coming, yeah.
All right. In the last 30 seconds that we have, since you've all shared your different perspectives, would you say that we're looking at the future of digital twins for ourselves with those agents that do things on our behalf?
For sure. Someone showed me one of my AI startup friends showed me a demo. You can just talk to an agent for less than 2 minutes, and the agent can talk exactly like you.
I see.
This is actually a demo show today, like last week, actually. So I think a simple agent represents you not only like a audio or video. It's coming very soon. There is no technical difficulty. It's just cost perspective. Like, is it worth it? Do you want to spend $2 to actually clone a digital twin of yourself? Video part may be longer. Audio part immediately.